because, let me just really quick turn on my mic. He has a car appointment. No, you're fine. Nobody can hear you because I have my desktop audio muted. Two concurrent viewers. Check. 3 watching now. Never know how close to have my mic. Sometimes I feel like I'm super loud, super quiet. All right, microphone sounds like it's working, so now I am going to mute things. Mic is now unmuted. Let's see, for people watching the stream, how do I sound? Do I sound good? Do I sound delicious? Do I sound amazing? Can you hear me? Not you, Karen. I know you can hear me. Let's see. Yes. Thanks, Johnny. Okay. Mute myself once again. Now I am unmuted upon stream again. One of these days, I'll figure out my table setup and I will get a third monitor. This darn thing. And then, purchase a third monitor. Uh, yeah. Or be like a real streamer and have like 5 monitors. I'm a real streamer. Okay, we'll give it a couple more minutes before we get going. I don't want to wait too long because we have a hefty agenda today, which I'll probably get through in like 30 minutes, but I want to make sure that I do give enough time to get through it. Page cache. All right, the notes are here. See the stream chat there. Let's go ahead and kick things off here, folks. So, good afternoon, happy Thursday. This is the WiscWeb monthly lunch and learn. This is our July lunch and learn. Welcome everybody. And for those of you who don't know my voice, I don't have my camera on because I got the room kind of darkened right now because the sun it doth heat me up. My name is Matt Goins. I am hold several hats upon my head within the WiscWeb team. Support, consultations, training, client engagement, various other things with the team. I'm the voice and the words that you'll often hear when you get email from the WiscWeb team. And you might hear a few other folks here in a little bit who are joining me. But this is our monthly gathering to talk about things that are going on with the WiscWeb service, updates, things that are coming, news, things of that nature. So first, I would like to start by introducing our newest member of the team. We hired a new developer to join the WiscWeb team, and that is Andrea Roning. And if you'd like, you can unmute and say hello, Andrea. And I promise you, we are super excited to have her because you all know that we are eager to try to do a lot of things and sometimes don't have the manpower to do it. So Andrea comes with a lot of experience, she's already had a lot of input into some of the things that we do. So we're super excited to have her join the team, and you guys will probably hear and see a lot more of the work that she is going to be doing for us in the coming months. So we're excited about that. So I just wanted to introduce her, our newest team member. Um, so let's kick into the agenda proper. So there are two new features that are now available within the WiscWeb service that are direct results of feature requests from our feature request board and conversations back and forth with a number of you that I want to demo today. And they are two lightweight plugins. I shouldn't say lightweight. The second one's probably not too lightweight. Two new plugins that we have added to the service. So the first one is let me just really quick before I start demoing them. Let me swap over to ye old scene. So these are plugins that can be activated via self-service. We left them as self-service plugins because I really didn't want to start confusing people with new things showing up in your publish area without folks actually being aware of like what are these things and then me having a chance to actually discuss them with you. So both of these plugins are going to be activatable through your self-service option. If you're logged into your site, you go to your plugins area. That is where all of our self-service plugins are available. You can activate or deactivate as you see fit. So the first one that I'm going to activate here is the public post preview. So you just click on it. You'll see there are some there is a column where there is some information about each particular plugin. Specifically, there is the knowledge base documentation that I have created for these particular plugins. So public post preview, what it does is it allows you to, when you are creating a new draft, and I click Save Draft up here in the upper right, there is an option now to click on a checkbox for Enable Public Preview. If you click on that, you get a URL. Yay, come here. And this, and I'll actually literally put it in the chat, that is the preview of this particular draft. And so one of the things that we have gotten requested is a way for you to share something that you're working on out to an audience that is not your editors or admins within your editing environment within the dashboard of that. And so, previously we hadn't done that. We took a look for things to try and help do that. And so I stumbled across this particular plugin that is relatively lightweight, that is updated frequently enough. And so we nabbed it and we tossed it into our service. And then I'll talk a little bit more about how that process worked in a second here. But anyways, it's there. It works. So a couple of things to be aware of. One, it will be available. The draft URL is available the moment you click Save Draft. So it's updated, and you can keep coming in here and working. Every time you click Save Draft, you don't have to share the same URL. This URL is unique to this particular page and this particular draft that you have created. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, I just saved it. I gotta share this out again. It's the same URL. You don't have to worry about that. The second thing is, and this is something that we're looking at, although I don't know the emergency of this particular one, but by default, the share URL is only active for 48 hours. So from the moment you click Save Draft, it turns on a timer that is 48 hours, and then it's done. The URL doesn't work anymore. And so We are looking at potentially increasing that. We don't know what the sweet spot would be for actually what that particular number should be. But we'll take a look at it. We'll see how it works. But just be aware of the fact that like if you send this out on a Friday morning, somebody doesn't get to it until Monday or Tuesday of the next week. The URL is not going to work for it. So and then still, there's some other things I'm curious about, like whether or not does that timer reset every time you click save draft? I don't know. I gotta test that out. So we'll see. But anyways, yeah, Rich, that's what I was just thinking. I don't know. Oh, it does. Okay, so Ellen, so I was gonna say this after I talked about the other one. Um, Thanks, Ellen. So I reached out to a number of people who had been a part of the request, and also just some other sites that I knew had chatted with me personally about this type of option. I asked a lot of people to test this stuff out um, for us because we wanted to see how it actually worked in the wild. How did it work in a published site? And so Ellen from the registrar's office was one of those that I reached out to, and she did give some feedback on it. And um, it was, yeah, I mean, it's very beneficial to have people who actually need to use this test it out for us because it made life easy for me because I can't think of every instance where this might be tested. So um, there's that. So thank you for answering that, Ellen. Yeah, so it resets after every new revision. So just be aware of that. But like if you don't look at it for a few days and don't update it, it's gone. And that's not to say you can't go in, click save draft, and send the URL again. So yeah, so this is the first one, the public post preview. Again, it is a plugin that you can activate as a self-service option. So the second one is a little bit beefier and is going to require a little more conversation. And also, I'll go into it a little bit more because it does add a little bit of confusion to what you're going to see. So the second one is a plugin called Yoast Duplicate Post. And so I'm going to activate that, and then I'll kind of chat about what the purpose of this one is. So when I activate Yoast Duplicate Post, what you'll see now is when I hover over, refresh this. Okay. No, you're okay. I appreciate that, Carolyn. I did see you're out of office. It's fine. I, I I included you regardless. Um, so what the duplicate post does is it adds when you have a published page, it adds these three options: clone, new draft, and rewrite and republish. We still have our original plugin active, and we have that one active network wide, which is the duplicate page plugin. Very confusing. We have a duplicate page and a duplicate post plugin. Duplicate page is the one that has this value right here, which is duplicate this. Duplicate post adds these three new values. So what does this do? Some things it does pretty obviously. If I click clone, it automatically creates a draft of the page I am copying and adds it to your list. So clone is just a quick, immediate copy. New draft, similar to what duplicate page does. If I click new draft, it automatically creates the new draft of it and also opens it for me to start editing. So this one is similar to the duplicate page plugin that we have been using since the service began. But this plugin also adds the clone option where, I have X number of pages that I want to create, and I need to just click on clone and create them right off the bat. So those are the two things that it does that are pretty straightforward. So the third option is really the reason why we're here. And this is the rewrite and republish option. So what this does is if I were to click rewrite and republish, it creates a draft in the background of this particular page, post, whatever it might be. And here is the page that I'm actually working on. So obviously it's, it says what it says. But what I can do is I can come in here and I can start adding some things. And I can just keep saving it. It's a draft. It is a draft until I tell it to be otherwise. So if I click save draft, I'm still working on the media embed test page. Nothing I've added has changed. Once I'm done editing this existing page, I can click republish. And all of the edits that I have made to this particular draft will automatically swap to the existing page. So now what I do is if I refresh this page, all of that stuff is now there. But I didn't have to rename the page. All of the ways that we've told you guys how to do this stuff in the past was very complicated. Save a draft of the new page, start editing it. Once you're ready, let's swap out the URLs, and then you have to worry about the menu structure and all that stuff. This plugin does that stuff for you. It automatically allows you to edit a page that you're trying to create. So we get this question a lot for like home pages. Well, we really want to overhaul our own page, but we don't want to take our current page down. It's gone. It is no longer there. It's I don't know if I guess Andrea, you're on the line. If you understand how this process might work a little bit better than I can, you can explain it. But essentially, it's just it's a draft that goes away and it rewrites all of that stuff to the existing page, and then it's purged. I don't really know if there's a better way to say that. Right now, because my stuff is not working, right? I think so. Nobody can hear you because my stuff decided to switch. Well, regardless, it's what my audio just stopped working there for my desktop stuff, so nobody can hear you guys. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix that. Essentially, what happens is it rewrites it to the database, and then that's it. Let me just look here. Can you combine these two plugins and share a preview of your draft homepage publicly? I thought I saw that the option was there. If I do rewrite and republish real quick, and then if I click save draft, the public preview is there. So yes, to your question, Meredith, it does, because it is technically a draft. It allows you the enable public preview option there, Rich. So you can save drafts and preview all you want, but it won't show to the world until you republish. Yes, it is a draft. It is not a live actual page. Yeah, so let me go here. So this is the draft. Good questions. Good questions. All right, so I'm looking at bouncing around on my list here. Okay, quickly identifies which is the original and which is the mirror. So here is media embed test. It is the original. Here is media embed test, draft, rewrite, and republish of media embed. So I could literally just change that. So yeah, and that's how, and then it also has the public preview enabled as well. So there we go. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Answer Rich. see, did this one super easy? They try to use it more. The difference between yeah. Is it prudent to make a backup of that page or post before starting this? I don't think so because nothing. I mean, at the end of the day, nothing would prevent you. So I just made all of these changes and I rewrote them. Okay, so here are all of these changes that I made, and I go in and I go, dang nabbit, I did something wrong. Nothing stops me from going to my revision history and going back in time and restoring a previous revision of it. And then just, you know, redoing the process there. So, dun, 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 dun. Over to here. Let's see. Can we save? Is it prudent? Can you save the draft before republishing? Yeah, it is a draft, Laura. So essentially what happens is let me undo some of the things I'm doing here just because I'm going to start clicking around too much and get lost in my own loop. Okay, so media embed test. If I'm looking at that, there is no option in here to do the rewrite, republish, etc. You have to do it out of your page. Oh, bother. See, Matt starts clicking. Things start getting crazy. You have to do it out of your page list. The moment I think I did something to that to make that go away. The moment I click on rewrite and republish, it is a draft. So I can click save draft and I can keep saving it until I'm done with it. So, blah, 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 click save draft. It's still a draft. So if I go into here into my pages list, there it is. And it'll be there tomorrow. It'll be there next week. It'll be there until I am ready to click republish. And then once I republish, then it goes away. Why did this one go away? Oh, did I make changes? You can only make one rewrite and republish duplicate at a time. And a duplicate of this post already exists in the trash. Permanently deleted. Oh, that's interesting. See, things you don't test, you don't think to test. Empty the trash. Get out of here. That was interesting. So what it was saying was I had already created a rewrite and republish of this one, but then I trashed it. And it wouldn't let me do a rewrite and republish of this one because the other one was still in the trash. So it was basically letting me know, hey, you already did this once. Are you sure? Go get rid of the other one. Okay. All right, really quick. I need to figure out my audio. Excuse me, talk amongst yourselves while the sausage is made. That's not it. Let's try this. Aha! There we go. All right. See, you guys get to watch Matt make a fool of himself. Okay. Apologies. Okay, so that is that particular plugin. So for me, I was super excited for those to be demoed to all of you and for all of you to see them because, um, like we said, these are things that are directly features that you guys have all been looking for. We just haven't had the time to take a deep dive into finding something that could meet the need. And honestly, we wanted to find something that one worked, but also is secure and updated. And so we found these two things. We're gonna let them run for a while. So the other the other end of this conversation is, what do you do with the duplicate page plugin? For the time being, my thought is we leave it in until I don't know when. We'll figure that out. But I don't. This exists and it has existed, and people use it. And people who aren't listening in on this conversation aren't going to know that now you have these other new options. Um, so just be aware of the fact that you've got an extra thing there to click. It does the same thing as these other ones. The big one out of this conversation is the rewrite and republish option. That's the one that matters the most, because that gives you that ability to um, to basically just edit in place and swap automatically. So that's the big win out of this one, in my opinion. And again, I super, super want to thank all of you who I reached out to do some testing for me. The feedback that I got on not only the plugin itself, but the knowledge base documentation that I had also created for it, it was very helpful. And it was nice for us to know that we could lean on you to help us, because I mean, you guys know how big the team is. We can't do everything, and also we can't think of everything that you might do within your site. It helped us out immensely, and I can't thank you all enough. Okay, moving on. We got stuff to talk about here. So brief reminder about the launch request process. This is just something that we notice from time to time, and I just want to kind of say, we want to say something about it just because of the fact that it sort of trends. Sometimes it'll really be a problem, sometimes it won't. Please remember that when you guys request a site and when you want a site to launch, you have to give us a 2-week notice on the launch reminder. We get a lot of requests to like, oh, we really need this site to launch next Monday. And that's not in our 2-week window. And a lot of times people will say, oh, it's an emergency. We really want to get this stuff out there for our audience. And it's like, I mean, that's not really an emergency. That's just your eagerness, which I appreciate, but we still need that time to get ready to launch a site. So, whenever I have conversations with folks who are always in this sort of situation where like, well, we're going to get working on it. We'd really like to get it launched. Well, if you get the site approved today and created for you today, nothing's stopping you from going in there today and requesting your launch for 2 weeks from tomorrow, say, or whatever it might be. But again, for the most part, not a super big issue, but we wanted to just touch on it because it does happen from time to time where we get requests to launch sites like within 4 days or 3 days or whatever it might be. We that turnaround doesn't work for us. We need more time. So, thanks. All right. So more meaty stuff. The embed content update. So, as hopefully most of you know, and we'll probably communicate this out again in an email next week. But the embed content stuff. So the ability to embed iframes, script tags, and style tags. And I'll touch on the style tag thing as well, because we left that out of our original communication. And then we found out that, whoops, that is something that actually is breaking in this process as well. Those 3 are the big culprits right now. We're certain there are more that we haven't even found, but we're trying to hit everything we possibly can. Those 3 particular values, the iframe tag, the script tag, and the style tag by itself, will no longer work. Our tentative date for that is going to be January 2023. We're pretty set on that date, but we want to make sure that we are flexible in case like something unforeseen happens. But right now, I mean, it's July. That we announced this last month. That gave us plenty of months to look ahead, and hopefully for all of you to look ahead as well. Essentially what this means is things that you are embedding in your site via the iframe tag, a script tag, and again, I'll touch on the style part of it, will stop working when we make this change. This was a grandfathered in policy when we started to enforce more of WordPress's security functionality. and safety functionality for editing sites, and it's worked, but we're just getting to a point where in some instances the concern over the security of the things that are being um, embedded or imported is a concern, or is growing. And honestly, trying to support all of the things that people are trying to import, we don't support those particular applications or those platforms. So when people come to us to try to support those things, we can't do it. So we're trying to minimize a little bit of that and trying to pull in some more of that content into our processes. So, for example, over the last several months, we've done embedding of like Google things like maps, forms. I think Google Calendar's on there as well. We've done Tableau because we know a number of users on campus use Tableau for data visualizations. We're looking at other options like Google Docs and Google Sheets as well. If you have a Google Sheet you want to embed, why not use a WP data table? It does the same thing. So again, just to point out that that's still happening. Our date for removing that type of stuff is still January 2023. So let's touch a little bit on the style thing real quick, just because I want to make sure that people are aware of that. So how this works is, or how it worked is, if you had done some particular coding in the text tab and used the style tag to create basically a style sheet. I can't remember what this is called. There's inline, there's global. What's the third one? It's a style sheeting option. Somebody will point it out. But essentially, you're creating a style sheet in Page that, to a certain extent, overwrites the stylings that are existent within the UW theme and within WiscWeb itself. Which, on one hand, cool, glad you figured that stuff out. But on the other hand, that's not really how we work. That's not our policy. Like, you use WiscWeb, you're using the UW theme unless you have requested customizations to it. So, as you can see, this this style is going to affect a paragraph tag, which in turn does that. It turns anything that's in a P tag into red. I could change that to be, let's say, purple. So now, same deal. Purple. There. But what you can see is this is embedded in a style tag there. Once we do this change come January, what will happen is these two tags will get removed, and this is what you'll start to see on your pages. So if any of you are using this type of stuff to style things on your page, you're gonna have to figure out how to get that cleaned up, because it's gonna stop working come January. Let's see, what other notes do I have here? That's really it. iframe, script, style alone. I did demo this last month when we chatted about this. If you are using the style parameter, the style function, sorry, I'm a developer in training, within another tag, so say for example a span tag, a style tag, I could do the same thing with this P tag. Like, I could style a P tag. Those will still work because they are values within the HTML tag itself. But standalone style tags will not work after that. We're currently, let's see what I got notes here. I write tons of notes and then I try and remember what I was trying to think about then. Like I said, we're working on a lot of different options within our functionality to allow for particular types of embeds. So, we get all kinds of requests for things. We've seen iframes being used for all kinds of different things. We're looking at them as to whether or not we can actually implement them into our own embed plugin that we're going to be using for this. The same thing that we use for like Google Maps, etc. Some of them are easy and will go in pretty smoothly. Others are not and may not be supported. Because what happens is if you have something that calls like an external ID value or an external parameter value that can't be set by us, it won't work because of just the complications to trying to embed that. We did run a scan of our service as a whole, and we got back all of the instances where iframe and script were being used. I know Jenna's been looking at that quite a bit, and I think I have it unmuted, so if she wanted to chime in and add some more, she could. But one of the things that we are looking at doing right now is if you would like to request a scan of your site to find any instances where you may be using a script or a style or an iframe tag, you can do so through our support form, our customer support form. I'll drop that into the chat. Apologies. Bingo. You can reach out. Let me add in a qualifier to this. This is, I don't know about the style tag. I think this will also include a style tag as well. If your site, we had that site in our knowledge base. Websites, we have this KB doc, and you have to log in to see it. This site showed, or this KB showed sites that were using embed code options. If your site isn't in that list, you're okay. Don't worry about it. Don't reach out. You're fine. If your site is in that list and you want a little more information about this, you're not sure where all it's being used, fill out our customer support form, choose embed code scan. Once we receive that information, we'll reach back out to you and either we'll give you the information, or if you want a little more help on this or a little more conversation on this, we can always set up some office hour times to chat about this. But again, I would go check this KB doc here. And look for yourself. There are a lot there. I guess that's anything else, Jenna, to add?
Yeah, could you just show, so like in the website URL field, we are aware that most of you have multiple sites. So in that website URL field, can you just show that plus sign next to the field where they can add multiple?
Yep.
So you don't have to submit a separate form for that request if you're requesting for us to scan sites. Just go ahead and add that, click on that plus sign to the right of the field and add all of the sites in that list. And then what we'll do is we'll send you like a spreadsheet of everything. And then you can kind of go through and update based on our documentation. If there's anywhere we don't have a KB doc, it's probably something that's still under review or can't be accommodated. So that's where, reaching out to us via office hours or following up with the original email to let us know like, hey, we have found something that's not accommodated here. We can kind of chat you through that process. I can't remember, Matt, if you touched on it, but just like there will likely be a smaller, a delay with those, with follow up on those requests, just because, it's going to take us a little bit to get through everyone that's requesting them, but we'll try to get through those as quickly as we can for you.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, so be sure to check the list in the knowledge base document and then request, and then we can talk further after that. And again, in some instances, take a look at our knowledge base here, because be aware of the fact that some things you might be able to just embed directly using either WiscWeb's embed allowances or WordPress's default embed policies or processes. So yeah, so like a few of them that I found, people were using the iframe functionality to embed YouTube videos. Well, you don't need to do that. You just need to take the URL, copy and paste it right into a text block, and it will automatically embed it. Same is true for the Kaltura stuff. We have that as part of our embed functionality. So, okay, moving on. The day doth draw on. Really quick, I've been having a lot of conversations about the Google Analytics 4 transition. So I did that combined knowledge base and WiscWeb kind of learn with Matt presentation a couple weeks ago. For everybody's awareness, Google Analytics, most of you have set up your Google Analytics to use what's called the Universal Analytics property. Google will stop collecting data via the Universal Analytics policy July 2023. Your data will still be available until the end of 2023, 6 months after they stop collecting it. So end of year 2023, your data will still be available. They say up to or at least 6 months afterwards. My assumption is it will be only those 6 months. They're not going to hang on after that. They've given over a year of notice on changing to Google Analytics 4. They've given over a year notice to get that data. They're basically going to be like, all right, we're good. We gave you time. So I've been walking a lot of people through the process of transitioning to Google Analytics 4. It's a pretty straightforward transition. It's not difficult. The data doesn't go away from your Universal Analytics property. It's just a way different view than what you're used to from Universal Analytics. Some more information, less information. There's a lot of different spots there for good and bad for Google Analytics 4. Regardless, be aware of the fact that it is happening. You all should be more proactive in making this transition. Don't wait until June of next year to start reaching out to me to help you through this process. If you feel like you need help, start last week thinking about this. Really try to get ahead of this. It's not a big deal. Let's just do it. Yep. Yeah. So it's as Andrea just put in there. There's a lot of data in there that will be familiar. You get your page views, you'll get your time on page, etc. Google Analytics 4 Tracks is more interested in interaction than it is total numbers. Amara, let me here real quick. Bum, 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 bum. There is that particular KB doc that walks through how to add Google Analytics to your site. There is an option in here that tells you to create. I need to change this because really I don't think you need to. There's an option in here that tells you to also create a Universal Analytics property. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and choose Google Analytics. Now, this is if you're setting up analytics for the first time. If you are updating to Google Analytics 4, here is a KV doc for you. This one walks through how to create that new GA4 property and then how to apply that as well. And again, please feel free to meet with me on this uh, um, via office hours. For those of you who aren't aware, if you go to our support, go to the WISC website, go to support, go to office hours, both Jenna and I make ourselves available on Fridays between 9 and 12. I'm sorry. I'm between 9 and 12. Jenna's in the afternoon, 2 to 4. I do Zoom. Jenna does Teams. We make ourselves available for 25 minutes or so for just like quick hits to get in and get out with some help. I do a lot of this one-off type stuff as well because a lot of people try to schedule with me and my calendar gets filled up pretty quick with these. So, if you want to try and meet with me at another time, reach out. Let's try and make some time. Don't overthink it. Don't panic about it. Don't stress about it. It's a pretty simple process. Your data's still there from before. You're just moving to a new way of collecting that data, and you just have to learn a little bit more about that, the way that Google Analytics 4 is collecting that data. So, all right, let's hit on a few other things here, really quick. This is a gentle and yet exceptionally aggressive reminder. Please, oh please, attend to accessibility when you are building your websites. The UW theme is accessible. The content that you put within your sites may not always be accessible. So please consider accessibility when you are building your sites and delivering your content. The greatest culprit in that thought, well, there are two, but the biggest one is remembering to add alternative text to your images. I meet with a lot of WiscWeb users. I have conversations with many WiscWeb users, and they will be like, well, I'm trying to build this page out. And I'll be like, okay, I'll go in, I'll take a look at a page, and I'll take a look at an image that they put on a page. And there is no alt text. And then I'll look through the next 3 images in their media library, and there's no alt text. When you upload an image to your media library, I don't care if it's on the fly when you're building a page or if you do it directly this way, if you just drag and drop. Add alternative text. It takes 5 seconds. 5 seconds to do this. And I'm pointedly saying this because this is a drum that I have beaten since I started on WiscWeb back in the open text days. And we talked about accessibility and alt text. It should be a part of your web design process. If you're thinking about the audience that you are trying to reach, you need to think about accessibility. So, that's a sweeping statement. There are many who do think about accessibility when they build their pages and their content. There are far too many who don't, though. And a lot of you have multiple editors within your site. A lot of you have multiple admins within your site. A lot of you pass off some of that responsibility to other editors when you are no longer responsible for certain pages or certain sites. You have to make sure that it's a part of your process for letting them know why it's important. Accessibility is exceptionally important, and make sure that you are attending to it. Okay, thanks. Put the soapbox on. Okay. Really quick, we have 2 presentations coming up in the next week, I believe. Yep. So next Thursday is the design community presentation. Design community is a group of individuals here on campus who are interested in just good design and creating aesthetic, usable, good user experience websites, good user experience content in general. So I linked to the design communities page proper. They have a presentation next Thursday at 2 p.m. for search engine optimization tips and tricks. Jonathan Dietering will be leading that. He is a member of our client engagement team. A lot of you have probably interacted with him over the years. He's done a lot with the WiscWeb team, so look forward to that. And then on July 27th at 11:30 a.m., I believe it is, the WordPress Community of Practice will also have a presentation. I'm trying to get down to my notes where that link is. Rich, if you're here, if you could put in the link to join the WordPress Community of Practice, I would appreciate it. But Jenna, our own Jenna Klinner, is going to be presenting there as well. And this one's it's similar idea, user experience and content strategy, different ways to display and integrate content into the UW theme and into your site. So that will be another good presentation to sit in on, because a lot of times the conversation is like, I'm trying to do this thing, but I don't really know how to. And we try to walk you through how to think outside of the box a little bit to do some cool things. So Jenna will be leading that. So look forward to that. Oh man, my notes are all over the place. I'll demo.
Matt, can I? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead.
Can I cut? Okay, I was just gonna say. So the talk that I'm going to be giving is kind of based on some feedback that we heard in surveys, and I think that really touches on the fact that folks are looking for different examples of ways of doing things, and then just making sure people are aware of some cool things that exist that might not be well known. So if you're interested in either of those things, I would say this presentation is for you. If you feel like you know a lot about like what exists, you feel comfortable with things, you know what you want to do on your pages, then that's totally cool, I think. I will be sharing some examples of sites that I've seen across campus that use the UW theme in cool ways. So that will be an element of it as well. And then also just an opportunity for us to connect and for me to learn more about like maybe barriers or areas where we can continue to kind of capture like feature requests and things like that.
All right. Really quick plug for the Canvas training course, the Canvas WiscWeb training course, just the beginners. Again, for those of you who are bringing on new editors, new admins, that's a good spot to send them to learn a little bit more about how to do a bunch of the things that you can do within WiscWeb and within the UW theme. Also, another little plug here for, I know we do share a number of cross users between WiscWeb and the knowledge base. I'm also on the knowledge base team, so I like to try and have a little bit of that conversation as well. The knowledge base is doing a card sorting activity. We're trying to do a little bit more user experience research. Actually, Ketter's on the line. Ketter, are you involved in this process? Oh no, Ketter's gone. Oh, she left. Bummer. Trying to do a little bit more user experience investigation to help make the tiny MCE editor a little better, just the general editing interface of knowledge base a little bit better. There's a card sorting exercise there. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes of your time. There's more instructions on that page. We would really appreciate it if you could take a look at it and just give us your feedback and let us know what your thoughts are there. And then lastly, the last thing I wanted to touch on, I think that's it. I wanted to show people this thing because I've actually been getting this question several times over the past year. A number of groups are now starting to use podcasting as a way to deliver content to your audiences. And I shouldn't say popular, the tool that people are using is a site called anchor.fm. It is a free platform that allows you to create and deliver a podcast. Now, usually what happens is I will get a a request that says, oh, we're trying to embed this particular thing from anchor.fm, but I don't see how that works. And it actually doesn't work that way because of the fact that Anchor FM doesn't have an actual embed functionality that we can use within WiscWeb. However, and let me just really quick click over to this one here. So here's one of the groups that reached out to me. This is the Anchor FM view of this. However, Spotify does have an embed functionality within WordPress. So if you were to go to Spotify and here are all of the episodes of this particular podcast, but if you go to copy episode link, if you click on the ellipsis over here, you go to share and copy episode link, you can paste that. Whoops. Matt can just completely do things wrong because that's what he does. Nope. Come on. Work right. Share. Copy episode link. Copy the clipboard. All right. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to click on the episode and copy the URL up there. It automatically embeds the Spotify player into your WordPress text block. And so again, I know this is of interest to some of you, not all of you, but it is a further way for you to engage with your audience, the podcasting functionality. So again, similar to YouTube, similar to how we do things with, I don't believe so. I believe it has to be Spotify's player, essentially. I don't believe you can edit any of the parameters of it. It is what it is. Again, similar to YouTube. I've been doing that with Spotify, but went to insert media and shows you out of bed. They did the same thing that you just did. Excuse me. Insert media, add media. I guess you could do it from this, import from URL, or chose the URL to embed. I guess I'd be interested to see how you do that, Hannah. I would be interested. I'm not going to make everybody else fit around to do that. But essentially, yes, you're taking that URL and WordPress's automatic embed functionality will automatically do that. So again, I thought it was an interesting. You could I could take embed content. And it's the same idea there, Ellen. The reason why people often want to do it within the text block instead of the embed content is sometimes they want it to be in line with like a thought. You might have a paragraph of description or a paragraph of context for the media file itself. Whereas this, you don't get that. It just plops it right there. Now I could put this like this. It adds some spacing between the two page elements. You're not wrong one way or the other. Basically, do what works best for you there. But yes, you could do the embed content functionality as well. Okay. Really quick also, at the moment, I don't know when our August Lunch and Learn will be because I'm going to be on vacation the week that we would normally have our Lunch and Learn. But right now we're also looking to do a theme release before I go on vacation. So I might do a Lunch and Learn the 3rd Thursday of August instead of the 2nd Thursday of August. I'll reach out to folks once I know more about what's going into the UW theme. I might just do like a quick learn with Matt instead of a Lunch and Learn to kind of walk through any of the changes that might come in with our theme update. But that's still being decided upon. So stay tuned. But as of right now, no specific August Lunch and Learn yet. Okay, I think that's it. Everybody knows how to get in touch with me. If you have any questions, never hesitate to reach out to me either through Teams, through email. Yeah. So thank you all for coming. I mean, I've got 2 minutes. I went right up to the wire there. Thank you all for coming. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Stay cool. I'll stick around in case anybody has any anything they want to put into the chat there. But I'll hang out. Whoa, sorry guys. You guys could see all the me's. Go back to this. And mute this. Okay. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.